All right, guys, let's get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Millen. I hope everyone's having a fantastic Christmas or holiday, or if you don't celebrate either, I hope you're having a great break, great vacation. And this video, or this segment, YouTube segment I'm going to do, well, it's basically going to be, I'm not going to use any notes, I'm not going to look at anything, I'm just going to use what I observed over the past few months and what the Democratic Party has become. And it hasn't become the party of workers. In fact, it abandoned that post a while ago. Because not only has it abandoned workers, but it abandoned half of their party. So we can go on this forever. I'm going to basically explain little by little and just the little parts of why the Democratic Party left most of its party and abandoned the party of the working people. And we've seen this because so the Democrats were they called Pennsylvania, Ohio, Florida, Wisconsin, Michigan, they call all these states the firewall states. And Hillary Clinton lost all those states. Why? I'm going to explain that. So when we found out around around the months of June and July, that WikiLeaks released emails that found that not only was the Democratic primaries rigged against Senator Bernie Sanders, but actually it was deliberately against him. The Democratic National Committee was totally against him from the very beginning, from Congresswoman and DNC chairwoman at the time, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She rigged it from the beginning, and here's how she rigged it. She worked with Chuck Todd of MSNBC's Meet the Press. Okay. And not only that, she told Chuck Todd to not cover anti-Hillary segments. So when they were talking about her emails for a long time, they told them to stop talking about the emails. And that's why they stopped talking about them. That's the main reason. And the emails also found that DNC officials were plotting how to use West Virginia and Kentucky primaries against Sanders because they're more religious states, so they tried to plant him as an atheist, Bernie Sanders. And he ended up winning those places anyway, so that's cool. So again, let me just show you guys my WikiLeaks sweatshirt here. Here it is right here. Hopefully you guys can see it. And it's pretty awesome. Love it. Got it for Christmas. So very excited about that. But basically what you've seen is corporate Democrats. It all starts with President Obama. When Obama was elected, he won huge, 2008. He won by a huge margin. But when you see him during the Dakota Access Pipeline, he's not the one that stopped the pipeline. Everyone's trying to give him credit. Obama did not stop the pipeline. The White House press secretary actually said that they were just agreeing with the Army Corps of Engineers statement to halt the pipeline temporarily. This is a temporary victory for the water protectors, not permanent. So Obama really just obligated with the Army Corps of Engineers. That's it. He did not take executive action, nothing about that. And he was pushing the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which studies have shown and economists all over and Democratic lawmakers have criticized. They said that wages would stagnate even more. Wages would go down. the trade deficit would go up, as it's been going up ever since NAFTA, ever since the Colombian Free Trade Agreement, and ever since all these free trade agreements, CAFTA, etc. And another study showed that the United States would lose 400,000 manufacturing jobs. We'd lose even more jobs. And Obama went on to say that TPP would be holding China accountable, but this was actually a backdoor deal for China. This agreement would allow China to get into the TPP, and you never hear about that. It's a huge myth that China would be excluded, but in fact they would be put back into it later on. So that's a huge deal. So, second of all, Obama has prosecuted the most whistleblowers of any president ever. And he's deported the most immigrants and put the most immigrants in detention ever. So the fact that we're all scared of Trump, of deporting millions and millions of immigrants, Obama's doing the same thing. And it won't ever happen because Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell, they won't let a wall happen, and they won't let deportation of millions of immigrants. It's just not going to happen. So again, corporate Democrats, they've been like, Hillary Clinton has gone to fundraisers in Wisconsin, begging donors and begging donors for their money instead of going to rallies and campaign events. And Wisconsin, she hasn't even campaigned there once, not even once. And you wonder why she lost. And she hasn't even reached out to Sanders supporters ever since then. Okay? So when she so-called wins the Democratic primaries, even though it was rigged and about over 100 pledged delegates were stolen from Bernie Sanders, according to Election Justice USA investigation, Hillary Clinton hasn't reached out at all. If you look at her appointments that aren't progressive whatsoever. So Bernie Sanders will say that the Democrats achieved the most progressive Democratic platform in history, which is true. It is. But they fail to implement. So Hillary Clinton says she's against TPP, but they fail to enact even on their platform that they're against TPP. So how can I trust that she's against TPP? Second of all, they fail to enact an anti-fracking stance on the platform. Excuse me. And those are just some of the problems. And then if you look at Tim Kaine, and also the problem with Israel, they failed to enact a stance that's against the illegal settlements in Israel. So that's another thing. So again, this is the progressive party of the United States, then I don't know what is, because this is more of establishment Democrats, which it is, and I'm getting to the point right now. Hillary Clinton appointed Tim Kaine as vice president. Now, you've seen all these articles on CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox, MSNBC, and so on. You see all these articles saying that Tim Kaine is the quote-unquote safe pick. He's not the safe pick, okay? He is one of the most establishment Democrats you can get. In fact, Cory Booker, who's an establishment Democrat, would have been better for Hillary Clinton than picking Tim effing Kaine. Okay, Tim Kaine not only voted for the fast tracking of TPP, which now he claims to be against it. But if he voted for the fast track, how can I trust him? I can't trust him because TPP allows the expanded powers of banks. And Tim Kaine actually wants to make banks bigger. He wrote an open letter to Congress, to Obama, stating that he wants to decrease regulation among big banks in America. And TPP would do just that. So I don't trust him to be against TPP. Next, Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton does exactly what you'd think she'd do, and she appoints, not a progressive, but she appoints Ken Salazar to her presidential transition team. Ken Salazar, let me just minimize this. Ken Salazar was pro-TPP and pro-fracking. Everything that progressives are against. Pro-TPP, pro-fracking. So how can I trust, again, she says she's against TPP. Her rhetoric says she's against TPP. But Trump said that from the beginning he nailed Hillary Clinton on NAFTA and TPP, these two free trade agreements. He nailed her on it. That's one of the big reasons why she lost those swing states. And why a third of progressives, a third of Bernie Sanders supporters wouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton, because of these big appointments that she made. And so a third of millennials wouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton because obviously they find her unbearable. She's not authentic. She's corrupted with corporate influences and so on and so on. Her unfavorable ratings are through the roof. And so she makes a last-ditch effort for millennials to grasp her campaign by trying to implement a college. All right, so she appeals to millennials by implementing Bernie Sanders' college tuition plan of public universities being tuition-free, four-year colleges, the four-year public universities being tuition-free. That was her plan. That was Bernie Sanders' plan that she implemented. Now, obviously, you look at all the banks that are supporting Clinton's campaign, and you see that they're funding her campaign. They're not for this. If Bernie Sanders wasn't paid a cent from a bank, you trust him. If Hillary Clinton is funded hundreds, she was given $153 million from Wall Street through speeches. Her and Bill were given over $153 million through speeches, and that's not even counting the donations that Goldman Sachs actually gave to her campaign directly. So those are just through speeches. And as I'm going back to the WikiLeaks revelations, one of the bombshells that Julian Assange found was that Bill Clinton was offered $1 million gift from Qatar to speak for 5 minutes. A $1 million gift to Bill Clinton through the Clinton Foundation. Saudi Arabia gave hundreds of thousands of dollars to the Clinton Foundation, between $10 to $21 million, I believe, or maybe $1 billion, and like millions of dollars to the Clinton Foundation. And then Clinton, as Secretary of State, all of a sudden gives Saudi Arabia over $1 billion weapons deal. So you see the conflict of interest here. And the thing is, corporate Democrats need to let go of their donors. That's the biggest issue. And when you see corporate Democrats not supporting a public option, Obama never pushed for a public option. He never grasped the ideal of public option. He was for national health care. Universal health care when he was campaigning. But yet when he had both chambers of the House, when he had a filibuster proof Congress, he did nothing. He didn't enact immigration reform in that time. He didn't enact gun reform. He didn't enact healthcare reform. Yes, he enacted it later, but it was basically Romney care. It wasn't a progressive thing. That is not a progressive thing. Everyone thinks Obamacare was a Democrat-run thing. Mitt Romney did it earlier. as governor of Massachusetts. So again, my dad's calling. Sorry guys, I gotta go. So I'll see you later.